Let's re-welcome everybody back into the big call tonight from wherever you're listening, whether it's Near East, Far East, whether it's Middle East, or Deep South, down in Tierra del Fuego, or all the way to South Africa, or Australia, New Zealand. I mean, it's wonderful to think that we have reach. It goes all the way around the world. And I'm pleased that we have a listenership from all over the world. I want to give everybody a happy, blessed Cinco de Mayo tomorrow. Mañana es el Cinco de Mayo. And, that's kind of a holiday that's, I think, kind of a marketing holiday, but it's still a good time. Just be careful con la cerveza mañana. Ten cuidado. Don't drink too much. No tome demasiado cerveza mañana or anything else. And just enjoy the day. Just enjoy it. It could be, you know what's cool about tomorrow? First of all, I want to thank those from the new nicely. By that I mean the health care bill was passed in the House of Representatives today, four vote margin. It went through 217 to 213. That was positive. And you know what's interesting about that? You say, well, that's good. It has to be handled in the Senate and then come back to the House and all that. Yeah, but the good news is what happened today was the start of tax reform as well. By being able to change some of the taxes that were in the previous plan, we're going to have a better shot at having a better tax structure. And with the tax plan that was outlined, we should be in pretty good shape. Now, a lot of us will move from no class to middle class to upper class, and we're going to pay more taxes possibly. But that's okay because we're going to be paying on the income that we make. But look at it this way. If we do get the corporate tax to come down from 35 to 15%, you realize that the tax that we pay on our income that our trusts are going to earn, because most of us are going to have trusts or foundations, and the trust income is passive income that you can expense again. Remember what Bruce is not. Not a CPA, not an attorney, not a doctor. Don't play one on the radio or TV, right? But I do know that trust income is for the most part passive income, and you can expense against it, of course, and reduce your tax liability in your trust. But to go from, say, a 35% all the way down to a 15% tax, that's nice. And I don't think I'm going to mind paying 15% tax on my trust income, net income in the trust, if that's how the new tax plan comes out, because I think the funds will be used wisely. Now, I want to say this before I get into I want to read this text to you in a minute, but I can say this. What's interesting about where we are now and moving forward is, you guys remember a few weeks ago, or even maybe a couple of months ago, I made mention that, I really would like to see the administration come with some, and this was before Stephen Mnuchin was even appointed, or let's put it this way, confirmed as Treasury Secretary. And I was asking for, let's see if we can get some infrastructure bonds together, because, guys, we're going to love to put some money into Rebuild America and use some infrastructure bonds to do that. Well, it appears at first glance that may be in the works. And I don't have the particulars about it per se, but I understand that they might be 5, 10, 15, and 20-year infrastructure bonds, maybe as many as 8 different types of bonds that will be used to rebuild America, in the sense of one might be for roads, one might be for bridges, One might be for rail, new railway or rail service. One could be for any number of other parts of infrastructure. Could be electric or electrical grid. Could be new internet infrastructure. All of that, guys. There are about 8 different types, I think, that they're looking at. And I would tell you, just as I mentioned before, that's a good way. And my understanding is it would be federally tax exempt, I hope. And that would be cool too. Because wouldn't it be cool to be able to make income? Because we're not used to getting much income from the bank. Let's face it. We're not used to making much in interest, guys. First of all, the rates have dropped so dramatically in the last 15 years, maybe. To where, you used to have a passbook account and pay 5.5%, 6%. Maybe you can make a little bit more. But now, the way things are right now, you're not even making 0.5% on your savings account. So what's really interesting is by being able to have bonds that pay a market rate for a tax-free bond, let's say it pays 3.5%, even 4%, maybe. Okay, that would be tax-free income. And boy, I'd be all over that, guys. I'd be all over that. And I'd take that, a lot of the income that would be coming from my trust, and invest that into these infrastructure bonds. I'm just telling you what Bruce would do. This is me. I think it's a cool thing, and I think it would help to know that those funds that were invested would go into the projects and into the infrastructure that will help us rebuild America. Wow. I think that's to me, that's the ticket right there. So thank you, President Trump's administration, for making this happen. Just on early preliminary reports, guys, that's all it is for me. I don't have the real details on it, but that's just what I'm hearing, and I'm just really excited about that. That's really cool. Now, let's switch over to Intel. What I'm hearing now is that Iraq, what's happening in Iraq, they still have not, to us, released the announcement about the liberation of Mosul. Okay? Now, Mosul's been liberated for at least 2 weeks now. And they've cleaned out, they've gone in house by house. They've taken out people. Now, there might have been a little bit of additional cleanup in the last 4 or 5 days, but really overall, it's been a done deal for a little while now. But for some reason, this seems to be the last thing that wants to be released for everybody, let's say in the States, to find out about. And I'll tell you this much, they're not going to release that until everything is completely and totally ready to go. Meaning we are essentially being notified with an 800 or a toll-free number. Once we are in that mode and we have this, that's when all that's going to get released. It's not going to be released ahead of time. And we should know that. We do know it by now because, the rates have changed in Iraq in terms of what their key cards are, what their pay, what they're able to spend. The pricing in Iraq has changed radically. I mean, it's going on. They're celebrating. They just had a 5-day holiday that ended on Monday. Stuff's happening. But I'll be honest with you, I don't think Iraq is too pleased that this hasn't been released over here yet. I know that's the case, and I don't blame them for not, being able to fully celebrate and let the entire world know what's going on. So it's coming. It's coming. They're going to have that honor very shortly. And the other information I'm hearing is that we've had these administrative holds on accounts, whether it's been platforms, whether it's been some of the paymasters accounts for the groups, the core groups, the subgroups, various independents, various people that have done exchanges and have been essentially given some money on a debit card to hold them over, to kind of give them a little bit of money to start with, but they haven't had access to their funds yet. Okay, real access. Well, that, I understand, is about to change. And my understanding is that the release of those administrative holds could occur overnight tonight. Now, what happens when that happens? When that happens, everybody essentially in their accounts are paid. Either they're paid immediately in a matter of seconds or minutes, or they're in process by a paymaster, and they get paid, in whatever order they need to be paid out. But that's happening. That's going on. What's happened in the last couple of days is paymasters have been released slowly from the U.S. Treasury to begin to hydrate their individuals, their participants, their people that are part of their groups. Okay? And but it's been a slow release, not an instant release. It's been slow. It's been something that might occur where they release one paymaster's accounts every 3 hours. And then the pace picked up yesterday to where it was more like, well, we're going to do 3 in an hour. And then it turned into, maybe 6 or 7 every hour and a half, and so on. And so there are a number of these that are being paid slowly. The release is coming. Guys, it's a slow release, and it's en route. And so I'm excited about it finishing up, obviously, and maybe that will occur overnight. That's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hearing. Now, what does that mean for us? You guys are saying, yeah, that's fine, but I don't have a paymaster. I'm an individual. I have my currency. I'm getting ready to exchange in the redemption centers as soon as Bruce puts out the toll-free number. Hey, I'm with you. I'm in the same boat that you guys are in. I will say that I think after that release takes place, the 800 number should be coming forthwith. And I think there's a good possibility that we will start, or the green light will come on for us sometime tomorrow. That's what I'm hearing. Now, I'm not going to nail it down to a specific time or when am I going to get the numbers, because I don't even know yet. I don't know. I could get them tonight. I could get them in the morning. I don't know. But all I know is we are moving. Everything's moving through. The Treasury is releasing the funds. We've had some interesting things. Look what's happened this week. We had May Day on the 1st. That held us up for 18 hours. Okay? In terms of, might have been even 36 hours. I know it was at least 18 hours. So that was kind of a hold-up. Then we had Buddha's birthday, which is honored in China and other parts of the world. And that made the banks close over there for a while. And now we've got Cinco de Mayo. I don't think Cinco de Mayo is going to slow us down, though. I don't think so. But we've had some things that have kind of delayed us a little bit this week. I think that we're at the point now where everything is sort of in queue and ready to be fully released. That's what I'm getting. I'm getting information that says that the farmers' claims should be released tomorrow. I'm believing that the prosperity packages should go out in a timely manner, possibly tomorrow. People that have done exchanges are being hydrated tomorrow afternoon or Saturday. So things are moving along in a way that looks like nothing's going on unless you hear what's happening behind the scenes. Bond trades that are the larger transactions that are requiring let's say, specific paperwork and participation from the participants in those groups. Those are happening now, and those are culminating in payout from Hong Kong, and then that parallels payout here, and so on. So there's a whole sequence of those things that's occurring now, essentially now, behind the scenes. There have been large tranches of funds from the Philippines. I mentioned that Tuesday. There was an additional large tranche received, I believe it was yesterday, or it might have been Monday and Tuesday night. Those were received. We had another large tranche from Singapore. I mean, the funds are there, guys. They've put them in place for us and for everything else that's happening. And I really think the release, some of these people have had pending next to their account balances for weeks and months and even longer. But you know what's going to happen? When those pending stati change, when the administrative holds is another term we use, when they come off, and when the prosperity packages go out, and when the farmers' claims are paid, that's our shotgun start. We should go pretty much, all of us, pretty close to the same time. Might be a little bit of delay here and there, but not much. This is what the Chinese elders and grandfather requested. This is what Christine Lagarde requested with the IMF. I mean, this is what they wanted. Now, we've also heard this is to be a daytime event. Well, daytime for us? I think so. But that doesn't mean yours truly might not be honored with the toll-free number before the day begins. And if that happens for me, then I've given a protocol on how to release it. Then, of course, I'll release it exactly as indicated. The other thing is there have been some exchanges that have already taken place, even last night. But it was for very specific customers of specific banks. And I will say that the rates that were exchanged overnight were very, very favorable, very good rates. And I anticipate that our rates will be the same, as good, if not better. In fact, the indication I have is that certain currencies are still trading. They're still being traded. And when they get traded, in this situation, taking something that was an exotic currency and making it sort of a mainstream currency, that tends to raise that value. Doesn't mean it's always going to be that way as currencies are traded. Different factors come in, and they could be high one day and down the next. It's just the whole pattern of what happens when the Forex comes open and comes on, and everything is trading, and certain things that happen around the world make a certain currency worth more that day than the other currency, and so on. And there's always an ebb and flowing of value around the world. But what I'm thinking is the fact that this is going a little longer and that we're close and that we should have this, I would say, for the weekend, it's probably a good thing because the rates are going up as a result of these trades. So look at it like this. Yes, we've had to wait a little longer. Yes, we all would have wanted it. Do you guys realize something? Do you realize I'm in my 13th year of this and in my 7th year of doing calls, 6 years with the big call, and a year prior to that on another call? Do you realize that if I'd had my way, probably 60% of you wouldn't even be in this now. I would have said, oh, I wish this would go through. Oh, why can't it go? Why? Because for me, I was thinking it was going to happen about 7 years ago. That's what I was told 13 years ago, was it was going to be 2 to 6 years. That would be about right. Well, a lot happened in the last 7 or 8 years that wasn't going to let it go. And so, really, it's probably better. Remember, God's own time is evermore the best, meaning God's timing is the best. And I see that's what it is, because a lot of you have come in to this in the last couple of years, maybe even in the last couple of months, and just found the big call because somebody told you about it. And so I have to say, forget the fact that I'd have been in a different world. Had this happened 6 years ago, I'd have been in a completely different world, a different game, not the game that we're in now. Wouldn't have known half of you people. Wouldn't have known Bob. Wouldn't have known Sue. Kent was with me back then, yeah. Wouldn't have known Pastor Stephen. Wouldn't have known a lot of people that God's brought into my life. So I'm here to tell you that I think we're at the right place at the right time. This is coming through for us at the perfect time. That's how we have to look at it. Are we ready? Yeah, we're ready. This is just what it is. It's just being patient and having to do all to stand. We stand. And we stand in faith, believing. We continue to hang in there with our plan A, that God is using to provide for us. And then the plan B, which I call blessing. When plan B comes through, then we drop plan A, or we switch off of plan A and we go with plan B. That's it. I think the time is very, very near. I think Cinco de Mayo could be a very, very important celebration. I think it's very, very importante para nosotros, para celebrarlo, okay, juntos. So let's see what happens, huh? Let's see what happens. It's going to be an interesting week next week when President Trump goes to the Middle East and does everything over there. And hopefully will congratulate Marine Le Pen from France. I hope a very good outcome from there. And just really we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I'm encouraged. I'm excited. I think everybody else should just take a deep breath, relax, and let this come to us. Let it come to us. And with that,